It is Saturday, April 12th, 2025. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon / early evening, I guess. And I came out here and I was completely flabbergasted about how much grass has grown since I was last here. I'm going to look at the last video I took and see if I can actually see a difference, but it's just so ridiculously green now, which is pretty amazing. So the sheep are trying to get shade. It's only 77 degrees. It's really not that warm. There's a nice breeze blowing from the south. The sun is warm, but that's about it. Commentator was asking about grazing and the early spring grazing. And so I've done this. This is what I did in 2022. 2023, 2024, and now this is 2025. So this is my fourth spring grazing. And what I learned is that until the grass is about knee high, you really have to stick to your winter rotation plan, right? You got to kind of hold back. Don't cover a lot of land yet until the grass really starts growing. Like right now, the grass is probably 8 inches to a foot tall. I'd like to see it 3 foot tall before I really, start speeding through and grazing as much as I can. So as for now, I'm just going to try to keep them confined, supplement with hay. That's what I'm doing with the cows. Actually, what I did is they had so much hay left over from the last row. When I moved the cattle, I just left them access to the last row. So they're grazing in the new row, but they can go back to the last row and get the leftover hay. This could be it for the hay. I might not need to roll any more hay out because it definitely looks like the grass has grown more than the sheep have eaten it, right? So by the time the cattle get in here, the grass will already be maybe 2 feet tall. Planning on moving them Tuesday morning to this area. So another comment, I don't know the right way to put this. The commentator suggested that the only way to cure hoof rot is to give the sheep a antibiotic, and I did look up on that antibiotic, and the only documentation I could really find on it was that it's approved for use in cows by the FDA that's the Federal Drug Administration, for some respiratory problem. And so giving it to sheep, I didn't see, at least in the US, I think it's approved in Europe for sheep, but I haven't really seen, what its indications are for sheep. Now, the approval for the drug doesn't include a link to all the studies they did with the drug, or whether it works, or, what kind of side effects it causes, or, any kind of notes about, whether to give it to particular sheep. So that's all tribal knowledge that I don't really have access to. And I don't know a way to really get access to that, especially for a drug that was approved back in, I think, the early 2000s in the US. Okay, that sheep is definitely limping. Right there, that lamb. So I need to get in there and take a look at his hoof, see what's going on there. I'm assuming it's a male, it could be female. But, in terms of treatments and stuff, there's no definite answers that I've seen for any kind of medicine or drug or antibiotic or vaccine where somebody's, that actually has a reputation, puts down that it's 100% effective, or, even putting any number on the effectiveness, And I don't know why I do know why people expect, these drugs to be effective, but I don't know why people, given their experience throughout their life, actually trust the people that are saying, yes, this drug absolutely does X, right? Because that's not true for any drug. There's always error bars. And this particular ranch and farm, and the way I'm doing it, is I'm not going to give any antibiotics to any animal. If the animal's not performing well, it's going to get cold. Probably sold. If the animal gets sick, there's really not much I can do about it, And that's just going to be the harsh reality of this ranch. I'm just going to see what happens if I don't use medicines and supplements and stuff like that people typically give to their sheep and their cows, right? Now, the experience I have with the cows, so I've had the cows I'm working on the 5th year of having cows. No, the 4th year. No, it would be the 5th year. I've had them for 4 years, right? I don't know. There's probably one case where I maybe could have saved a cow's life if I gave it drugs. That was the cow that died recently she had like a runny nose and stuff like that. But I don't know that it's really worth it to be aggressive with that kind of stuff. Going forward, my policy is going to be no vaccines, no drugs of any kind. I will give mineral supplements. In the winter, I will be giving some cottonseed meal. I can probably look into where that cottonseed meal is coming from. I imagine that since it's cotton and not something that people eat, there might be a lot of different kinds of chemicals in there from the growing process. So I can check that out. And there might be some other protein source that I could use. Maybe there's, I don't know. The cottonseed meal seems to work pretty well. I don't know what kind of side effects it causes, but I need some kind of protein supplement in winter here in Texas, right? It's just we don't get that grass that lamb is almost as big as that ewe there. That poor mama. That poor mama. That little baby boy's milking her dry. Anyway, but that's kind of the plan that I'm going to use here. So I'll try to document everything that happens as best as I can. I'm thinking about sharing with you guys numbers about like how many things were born and what kind of things they were, and how many didn't survive and the reasons that I think that they didn't survive or whatnot. I don't know that that's terribly useful for sheep, because sheep they're a lot more delicate than cows, and they're not like goats. Like goats, they just melt in the rain. That's what one of the people that raises goats around here told me. They melt in the rain. They need shelter and all this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna not be too liberal with that information, because it's not for the faint of heart type stuff. But I am thinking of giving like general, like, about 5%, survived, blah blah blah, or 95% or whatever. Give like broad percentages like that. Just give you a percentage range. And again, one of the issues is like when you're dealing with statistics with small populations like this, just because like it's one or two better than the other group or the other control or whatever, it doesn't really mean it's better. It could just be random chance that you saw a good result, so or a bad result or whatever. You need lots of numbers, and there's other factors at play too. So I'm going to keep my eyes open. These Dorpers are probably going to be phased out one day. I'm thinking that maybe 5 or 10 years from now I might try some Dorper rams, but I've never heard anybody say with this style of grazing that Dorper rams do really well or Dorpers do really well. So expect my flock to be mostly Catata and maybe some St. Croix in there. I might experiment with Dorper one day. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of my observation and suggestion. I'm not telling the guy that he's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know where you're getting that information from. I can't seem to find it. So, and if you're going to try to share information like that, make some kind of empirical observation or state an empirical fact, you need the empirical evidence to look at, so I can judge the worthiness of the claim. You know what I mean? So I know that whenever I look up studies, there's really not a big statistical correlation with anything. It just really does seem to be, happenstance. If there was something out there that was obviously better, I think everybody would be doing it, right? But it's not obvious, most of the stuff. I trust in rotational grazing. I think that that's a good way to go. But, and the reasons don't have to do with it's better for the animals. It has more to do with free food, the economics, and I think the healthiness of the product that comes out of the rotational grazing. So that's kind of where I'm at. I trust the system, but this little girl, you're not getting better, are you? You're not getting better. Maybe a little bit. Maybe one of these days I'll try to catch her again and look at her claw and see what I did. I might have damaged her. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing with a trim claws. So anyway, guys, you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.